Welcome to the Pursuit Chronicles, where tales of adventure, discovery, and passion unfold through every inspiring journey. The rain battered the windows of the small clinic in Hollow Creek, a forgotten town nestled in the shadow of Oregon's coastal mountains. Dr. Evelyn Harper sat alone in her office, the fluorescent lights flickering above her desk. It was past midnight, and the clinic had closed hours ago, but Evelyn couldn't leave. Not yet. Her hands trembled as she clutched the phone, the number for the state's child protection hotline glowing on the screen. She hadn't dialed it, not yet, but the weight of what she'd seen, what she suspected, pressed against her chest like a stone. Evelyn wasn't supposed to be here. She'd moved to Hollow Creek 3 years ago, fleeing the chaos of Chicago's emergency rooms, and a life that had unraveled after a malpractice lawsuit. The small town was supposed to be her refuge, a place to rebuild as a family doctor. But Hollow Creek had its own secrets, buried beneath the surface of its quaint diners and foggy streets. And now, one of those secrets had walked into her clinic, wearing the face of a terrified 12-year-old girl named Lily Carter. Lily had come in that afternoon, accompanied by her mother, Sarah Carter, and her stepfather, Tom Brennan. It was supposed to be a routine checkup. Lily had been complaining of stomach aches for weeks. Sarah, a nervous woman with tired eyes, had hovered by the door, while Tom stood too close to Lily, his hand resting on her shoulder. Evelyn had noticed the way Lily flinched at his touch, the way her eyes darted to the floor when he spoke. Something was wrong. Evelyn had seen enough trauma in her career to recognize the signs: the hunched shoulders, the averted gaze, the way Lily's voice shrank to a whisper when asked about her home life. During the exam, Evelyn had asked Sarah and Tom to step outside. Alone with Lily, she'd tried to coax the truth out of her. "Is everything okay at home, sweetheart?" she'd asked, keeping her voice soft. Lily had stared at the linoleum floor, her fingers twisting the hem of her sweater. "It's fine," she'd mumbled. But her eyes, those wide, haunted eyes, told a different story. Evelyn had pressed gently, asking about the stomach aches, about school, about her stepfather. Lily's answers were vague, but when Evelyn mentioned Tom, the girl's breath hitched, and a tear slipped down her cheek. That was when Evelyn saw it, a bruise on Lily's upper arm, faint but unmistakable, shaped like fingertips. It wasn't fresh, but it wasn't old either. Evelyn's heart sank. She'd seen bruises like that before, on children who'd been grabbed too hard, held too tightly. She'd wanted to ask more, to push harder, but Sarah had knocked on the door, saying they needed to get home. Tom's voice had followed, sharp and impatient. "Let's go, Lily." Now, hours later, Evelyn sat in the dark, replaying the visit. She'd documented everything in Lily's file, her observations, the bruise, the girl's demeanor. But documentation wasn't enough. She knew what she had to do. The hotline number stared back at her, a lifeline for a child who might be in danger. But making that call would set things in motion she couldn't control. Hollow Creek was a small town, and Tom Brennan wasn't just anyone. He was a former deputy sheriff, a man with connections, a man people trusted despite the rumors that swirled around him, rumors of a temper, of late-night arguments that echoed through the thin walls of the Carter trailer. Evelyn's mind raced. What if she was wrong? What if the bruise was from something else, and she was jumping to conclusions? She'd been burned before, back in Chicago, when she'd reported suspected abuse, and the family had turned on her, accusing her of fabricating evidence. The lawsuit had cost her everything: her savings, her reputation, her confidence. But what if she was right? What if Lily was being hurt, and Evelyn did nothing? The thought was unbearable. She picked up the phone, her thumb hovering over the call button. The rain outside grew louder, a relentless drumbeat against the clinic's roof. She closed her eyes, picturing Lily's face, those tear-filled eyes. She couldn't ignore it. She couldn't walk away. She pressed the button. The line rang once, twice, 3 times. Evelyn's heart pounded. What would she say? She couldn't reveal her identity. Not yet. Tom's connections ran deep, and if He found out she'd reported him. He could make her life hell. She'd seen what happened to whistleblowers in small towns like this. But she had to protect Lily, a voice answered, calm and professional. Oregon Child Protection Services, how can I assist you? Evelyn froze. Her throat tightened. She hadn't thought this through. What if they traced the call? What if they demanded her name? She lowered her voice, hoping it sounded different enough to mask her identity. I'm calling to report suspected child abuse, she said, the words tumbling out. A girl, 12 years old, in Hollow Creek. Her name is Lily Carter. I think her stepfather, Tom Brennan, is hurting her. The operator asked for details, Lily's address, the nature of the suspected abuse, any evidence. Evelyn gave what she could, the bruise, Lily's fear, the way Tom loomed over her. She kept her own name out of it, saying only that she was a concerned citizen. The operator promised to follow up, but Evelyn barely heard the words. Her pulse roared in her ears. She'd done it. She'd made the call. There was no going back. She hung up and leaned back in her chair, her hands shaking. The clinic was silent except for the rain. She felt exposed, as if the walls themselves were watching her. She needed to get out of there, to go home, to pretend everything was normal. But as she grabbed her coat and keys, a noise stopped her. Cold, a creak from the hallway outside her office. Her breath caught. The clinic was locked. She'd checked the doors herself. But the sound came again, unmistakable. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving toward her office. She stood, her eyes fixed on the door. The knob turned. Evelyn? A voice called low and familiar. It was Tom Brennan. The next morning, Hollow Creek woke to a gray, sodden dawn. Evelyn hadn't slept. She'd barely made it home after Tom's unexpected visit to the clinic. He'd claimed he was just checking on her, saying he'd seen the lights on and wanted to make sure she was okay. But his eyes had been sharp, searching, as if he knew something. Evelyn had played it off, saying she was finishing paperwork, but her voice had shaken, and she was sure he'd noticed. When he left, she'd locked the door behind him and driven home, checking her rearview mirror the whole way. Now, sitting at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee gone cold, she tried to piece together what to do next. The hotline call was anonymous, but Hollow Creek was small, and suspicions would spread fast. If Tom was guilty, and Evelyn was almost certain he was, he'd be on edge, looking for whoever had reported him. She needed to be careful, but she also needed to keep an eye on. Lily? Evelyn's phone buzzed, startling her. It was a text from Sarah Carter. Can you see Lily again today? She's not feeling well. Evelyn's stomach twisted. Was this a coincidence, or did Sarah know something? She typed a quick reply, agreeing to see Lily that afternoon, and then headed to the clinic, her mind racing. The day passed in a blur of patients, coughs, sprains, routine prescriptions, but Evelyn's thoughts were on Lily. When the girl arrived, she looked worse than the day before. Her face was pale, her eyes red-rimmed, as if she'd been crying. Sarah was with her, but Tom was nowhere to be seen, which was a small relief. Evelyn took them to the exam room and asked Sarah to wait outside, citing privacy for the exam. Alone. With Lily, Evelyn knelt to meet her eyes. Lily, I need you to be honest with me, she said softly. Is someone hurting you? You can tell me. I'm here to help. Lily's lip trembled, but she shook her head. No, she whispered. I'm fine. Evelyn didn't believe her, but she couldn't push too hard. Not yet. She checked Lily's vitals, noting new bruises on her wrist, smaller but fresher than the one on her arm. She documented everything, her hands steady despite the anger building inside her. Someone was hurting this girl, and Evelyn was going to stop it. As she finished the exam, Sarah knocked on the door. Everything okay? She asked, her voice tight. Evelyn forced a smile. Just finishing up. Lily's stomach aches might be stress-related. I'd like to see her again in a few days. Sarah nodded, but her eyes were distant, as if she was only half listening. Evelyn watched them leave, a knot forming in her chest. She needed more evidence, something concrete to give the authorities. But how could she get it without putting herself, or Lily, in danger? That night, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling. that she was being watched. She double-checked the locks on her house, closed the blinds, and kept her phone close. She'd made another call to the hotline, updating them with the new bruises, still anonymous. The operator had assured her that an investigation was underway, but it could take days, even weeks, to build a case. Evelyn didn't know if Lily had that kind of time. She was about to go to bed when her phone rang. The number was blocked. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" No one spoke, but she could hear breathing on the other end. Slow, deliberate. Her skin prickled. "Who is this?" she demanded. The line went dead. Evelyn stared at the phone, her heart racing. It was Tom. It had to be. He knew she was onto him. She thought of Lily, alone in that trailer with him, and a surge of determination washed over her. She couldn't wait for the authorities. She had to act. The next day, Evelyn started digging. She reached out to an old friend from Chicago, a private investigator named Marcus Reed, who owed her a favor. She asked him to look into Tom Brennan, his past, his record, anything that might confirm her suspicions. Marcus promised to get back to her within 48 hours. In the meantime, Evelyn kept her routine, seeing patients, checking on Lily, when she could, and watching her back. But Tom was watching her too. She saw his truck parked across from the clinic one evening, idling in the fog. When she stepped outside, he drove off, but the message was clear. He was keeping tabs on her. Evelyn's fear grew, but so did her resolve. She wasn't going to let him intimidate her, not when Lily's safety was at stake. 2 days later, Marcus called with news. Tom Brennan had a history, arrests for domestic violence in another state, charges that were dropped when the victims recanted. There were whispers of other incidents, too, involving children, but nothing had ever stuck. He was careful, Marcus said. Smart. The kind of predator who knew how to cover his tracks. Evelyn's blood ran cold. She thanked Marcus and hung up, her mind spinning. She had to get Lily out of that house, but how? She couldn't just confront Tom. He'd deny everything, and Sarah might not believe her. She needed proof, something undeniable, and she needed it fast. That night, Evelyn drove to the edge of town where the Carter trailer sat on a patch of overgrown land. She parked a block away, hidden by the trees, and watched the trailer through binoculars. The lights were on, and she could see shadows moving inside. She didn't know what she was looking for, just a sign, something to confirm what she already knew. Then she saw it. Tom, standing in the window, his silhouette looming over Lily's smaller one. He grabbed, her arm yanking her toward him. Lily pulled away, but he held on, his face twisted in anger. Evelyn's heart stopped. She fumbled for her phone, ready to call 911, but before she could, the trailer door opened, and Sarah stepped outside, shouting something at Tom. He let go of Lily and stormed after Sarah, leaving the girl alone. Evelyn didn't think. She got out of her car and crept toward the trailer, her pulse pounding. She had to talk to Lily to get her to open up, to get her somewhere safe. She knocked softly on the door, whispering, "Lily, it's Dr. Harper. Can you let me in?" The door creaked open, and Lily's pale face appeared. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm here to help you," Evelyn said. "You don't have to be afraid anymore, but you have to tell me the truth. Is Tom hurting you?" Lily's eyes filled with tears. She opened her mouth to speak, but before she could, headlights swept across the trailer. Tom's truck was back. Evelyn grabbed Lily's hand. "Come with me," she whispered. "Now." They ran into the darkness, the rain swallowing their footsteps as Tom's voice bellowed behind them. "Lily, where the hell are you?" The rain lashed against Evelyn Harper's windshield as she sped through the back roads of Hollow Creek. Lily Carter huddled in the passenger seat. The girl's breaths came in shallow gasps, her hands clutching the edges of her soaked hoodie. Evelyn's heart pounded, her eyes flicking between the road and the rearview mirror. Tom Brennan's truck hadn't appeared yet, but she could still hear his voice echoing in her mind, bellowing Lily's name into the night. They weren't safe. Not yet. "Lily," Evelyn said, keeping her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her. "You're okay now. I'm going to take you somewhere safe, but I need you to tell me what's been happening, the truth." Lily didn't answer. She stared out the window, her reflection pale and ghostly in the glass. Evelyn wanted to push, to demand answers, but she knew better. Trauma locked people up tight, especially kids. She'd seen it in Chicago. Children who'd been hurt, silenced by fear or shame. Lily needed time, but time was something they didn't have. Evelyn's phone buzzed in the center console, making them both jump. She glanced at the screen, an unknown number. Her stomach twisted. It could be the hotline following up on her reports, or it could be Tom. She let it go to voicemail, her grip tightening on the steering wheel. She needed to focus. Her plan was shaky at best. Get Lily to her house, hide her for the night, and call her old friend Marcus Reed for help. Marcus, the private investigator, had already dug up dirt on Tom's past. Maybe he could pull strings, get Lily into protective custody without Evelyn's name being dragged into it. The road curved sharply, and Evelyn slowed, the tires slipping on the wet pavement. Hollow Creek's outskirts were a maze of logging. Trails and abandoned lots, the kind of place where secrets could stay buried. Her small house was 10 minutes away, tucked at the edge of town. If she could get there without being followed, they'd have a chance to regroup. "Dr. Harper?" Lily's voice was barely a whisper. Evelyn glanced at her. "Yeah, sweetheart? Is he going to find us?" The fear in Lily's eyes cut through Evelyn like a knife. She wanted to promise safety, to say Tom would never touch her again, but she couldn't lie. Not when Tom's truck could be rounding the next bend. "I'm not going to let him hurt you," she said instead. "I promise I'll do everything I can." Lily nodded, but her hands trembled. Evelyn reached over, squeezing the girl's shoulder gently. "You're brave, Lily. Braver than you know." They drove in silence, the rain a relentless roar. Evelyn's house came into view, a modest single story with peeling paint surrounded by pines. She pulled into the driveway, scanning the street for any sign of Tom's truck. Nothing. She cut the engine and turned to Lily. "Stay close to me, okay? We're going inside." Lily nodded, clutching her hoodie like a lifeline. They hurried through the rain, Evelyn fumbling with her keys. At the door, the lock clicked, and they slipped inside, the warmth of the house a stark contrast to the cold outside. Evelyn bolted the door and checked the windows, her pulse still racing. For now they were safe, but she knew it wouldn't last. She led Lily to the living room, wrapping her in a blanket. The girl's clothes were soaked, her hair plastered to her face. Evelyn grabbed a towel and a glass of water, kneeling beside her. "You warm enough?" she asked. Lily nodded, sipping the water. Her eyes darted to the windows as if expecting Tom to appear. Evelyn followed her gaze, her own nerves fraying. She needed to act fast, call Marcus, figure out the next step. But first, she needed Lily to trust her. "Lily," she said softly, "I know it's hard, but I need to know what's been going on at home. The bruises on your arm, your wrist, did Tom do that?" Lily's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her eyes filled with tears, and she pulled the blanket tighter around her. Evelyn waited, giving her space. Finally, Lily whispered, "He gets mad. When Mom's not around, he grabs me, says I'm not his kid, that I'm a burden." Evelyn's chest tightened. She'd suspected as much, but hearing it from Lily made it real. "Has he done more than grab you?" she asked, her voice gentle but firm. "Has he hurt you in other ways?" Lily's face crumpled and she shook her head, but the gesture was more avoidance than denial. Evelyn's heart sank. She'd seen this before, kids too scared or ashamed to admit the full extent of their abuse. She reached for Lily's hand, squeezing it. "You don't have to tell me everything now, but I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. We're going to make this stop." Lily's tears spilled over, and she leaned into Evelyn, sobbing. Evelyn held her, stroking her hair, her own eyes burning. She'd made the right call, getting Lily out of that trailer, but the danger was far from over. An hour later, Evelyn sat at her kitchen table, her phone pressed to her ear. Marcus reads. Voice crackled through the line, steady and no nonsense. "You're in deep, Evie," he said. "You sure you want to play this game? Brennan's not some small-time thug. He's got friends in the sheriff's department, maybe higher." "I don't have a choice," Evelyn said, glancing at Lily, who was curled up on the couch, asleep under the blanket. "She's not safe with him. I saw him grab her tonight, Marcus, and those bruises, it's not just yelling or neglect. He's hurting her," Marcus sighed. "All right, I've got a contact in Child Protective Services. Off the books. I can get them to prioritize Lily's case, maybe get her into a safe house by tomorrow, but you've got to keep her hidden until then. If Brennan finds her, or if he figures out you're involved, things could get ugly." "I know," Evelyn said, her voice tight. "What about the police? Can we trust them?" "Not yet," Marcus said. "Brennan was a deputy for 10 years. He's got loyalty in the department, and Hollow Creek's not exactly a beacon of transparency. My advice? Lay low. Don't talk to anyone local. I'll dig deeper into Brennan's past, see if I can find something to nail him with." Evelyn nodded, though Marcus couldn't see her. "Thanks, Marcus, I owe you." "You owe me a beer when—" "This is over," he said, a hint of humor in his voice. "Stay sharp, Evie, and lock your doors." She hung up, her mind racing. Marcus was right. She couldn't trust the local police, not with Tom's connections. But hiding Lily was only a temporary fix. Tom would come looking and Sarah might already be suspicious. Evelyn needed evidence, something to force the authorities to act before Tom could cover his tracks. She glanced at Lily, still asleep, her face peaceful for the first time since Evelyn had met her. The sight strengthened her resolve. She wouldn't let Tom win. Not this time. The next morning, Hollow Creek was buzzing with rumors. Evelyn heard them at the diner where she grabbed coffee, keeping her head down to avoid attention. Tom had been at the trailer park at dawn, shouting about Lily, running away. Some said she'd snuck out to meet a boy, others whispered she was troubled, acting out for attention. No one mentioned abuse, no one mentioned Tom's temper. Hollow Creek had a way of closing ranks, protecting its own, even men like Tom Brennan. Evelyn's phone had 3 missed calls from Sarah, plus a voicemail she hadn't dared to listen to yet. She couldn't risk contacting Sarah directly, not until Lily was safe. But she needed to know what Tom was saying, what he was doing. She drove to the clinic, her eyes scanning for his truck, and slipped inside, locking the door behind her. Her receptionist, Clara, was already there, sorting files. "Morning, Dr. Harper," she said, her voice cheerful. "Heard about the Carter girl? Whole town's talking about her disappearing." Evelyn forced a neutral expression. "Yeah, I heard. Any word on where she might be?" Clara shrugged. "Tom's saying she ran off, probably to her dad's place in Portland. Sarah's a mess, apparently. Can't blame her, with a kid like that." Evelyn's jaw tightened. A kid like that. The phrase grated, but she let it slide. Clara didn't know the truth, and Evelyn couldn't risk tipping her off. "Let me know if you hear anything else," she said, heading to her office. Once alone, she checked her voicemail. Sarah's voice was frantic, tearful. "Dr. Harper, it's Sarah Carter. Lily's gone. She didn't come home last night, and Tom's out looking for her. If you hear anything, please call me. I'm so scared." Evelyn deleted the message, her hands shaking. Sarah sounded genuine, but Evelyn couldn't be sure. Was she covering for Tom, or was she in the dark? Either way, Evelyn couldn't call her back. Not yet. She spent the day seeing patients, her mind only half on her work. Every creak of the clinic's floorboards made her jump, expecting Tom to barge in. By late afternoon, Marcus called with an update. His CPS contact had agreed to fast-track Lily's case, but they needed a statement from Lily herself to justify removing her from the home. Without it, Tom could claim she was just a runaway, and the case might stall. Evelyn's heart sank. Getting Lily to talk would take time, and time was running out. She thanked Marcus and hung up, staring at her desk. She needed a plan. something to keep Tom distracted while she got Lily to safety. An idea formed, risky but possible. She could leak a rumor, something to put Tom on the defensive, buy her a few hours. But it would mean stepping deeper into the mess, risking exposure. Before she could decide, Clara knocked on her door. "Dr. Harper, Tom Brennan's here. Says he needs to talk to you about Lily." Evelyn's blood ran cold. She hadn't seen his truck outside. He must have parked out of sight. "Tell him I'm with a patient," she said, her voice steady despite the panic rising in her chest. "I'll be out in a few minutes." Clara nodded and left. Evelyn grabbed her phone, texting Marcus, "Tom's at the clinic. I need backup." She didn't wait for a reply. She slipped out the back door, her car keys in hand, and drove to her house, praying Lily was still safe. When Evelyn pulled into her driveway, the house was dark. Too dark. She'd left a lamp on for Lily, hadn't she? Her pulse quickened as she stepped inside, calling softly, "Lily, it's me." No answer. The living room was empty, the blanket folded neatly on the couch. Evelyn's stomach dropped. She checked the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom. Nothing. Lily was gone. Panic clawed at her. Had Tom found her? Had Lily run? She checked the back door. It was unlocked. She cursed herself for not securing it better. Then she saw it. A note on the kitchen table, scrawled in Lily's shaky handwriting. "I'm sorry. I went home. Don't hate me." Evelyn's heart stopped. Lily had gone back to the trailer, back to Tom. She grabbed her phone, dialing Marcus, but it went straight to voicemail. She didn't have time to wait. She ran to her car, the rain starting again, and sped toward the trailer park, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. The trailer park was quiet when she arrived, the rain muffling sound. Tom's truck was parked outside the Carter trailer, its headlights off. Evelyn parked a block away, her hands trembling as she grabbed a flashlight from her glove compartment. She didn't know what she'd do when she got inside. Confront. "Tom, grab Lily, call the police," but she couldn't leave the girl there. She crept toward the trailer, staying low. The windows glowed faintly and she could hear voices, Tom's, loud and angry, and Sarah's pleading. Then Lily's voice, small and broken. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." A crash cut her off, followed by Sarah's scream. Evelyn's blood ran cold. She reached for her phone, dialing 911, whispering her location and begging for help. Then she moved closer, peering through a crack in the curtains. Tom stood over Lily, his fist raised. Sarah was on the floor, clutching her arm. Lily was crying, curled into a ball. Evelyn's instincts took over. She banged on the door, shouting, "Tom, it's Dr. Harper, open the door!" The trailer went silent. Footsteps approached, heavy and deliberate. The door swung open, and Tom loomed in the doorway, his face a mask of rage. "What the hell are you doing here?" he growled. Evelyn stood her ground, her voice steady. "I'm here for Lily. Let her go, Tom. The police are on their way." His eyes narrowed, and for a moment she thought he'd lunge at her. But then Sarah's voice came from inside, shaky but firm. "Tom, stop. Just stop." Tom turned, and Evelyn seized the moment, pushing past him. She grabbed Lily, pulling her toward the door. Sarah was on her feet now, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know," she sobbed. "I swear, I didn't know." Evelyn didn't have time to comfort her. She dragged Lily outside, the rain soaking them both. Tom shouted after them, but Evelyn didn't look back. She got Lily to her car, locking the doors, and peeled out of the trailer park, just as police sirens wailed in the distance. They drove in silence, Lily shivering in the passenger seat. Evelyn's hands shook on the wheel, but relief was starting to creep in. Lily was safe, for now. The police would handle Tom, and with Sarah's apparent change of heart, maybe the truth would finally come out. "Dr. Harper," Lily said, her voice small. "Yeah? Thank you." Evelyn's throat tightened. "You don't have to thank me, sweetheart. I'm just glad you're okay." But as they drove, Evelyn's phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. She ignored it, but a sinking feeling settled in her gut. Tom might be down, but men like him didn't go quietly. and Hollow Creek had a way of protecting its secrets. The police station in Hollow Creek smelled of stale coffee and damp wood, a squat brick building that seemed to sag under the weight of the town's secrets. Dr. Evelyn Harper sat in a hard plastic chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, watching Lily Carter across the room. The girl was wrapped in a blanket, her face pale but resolute, as a social worker named Ms. Delgado spoke to her in low, soothing tones. It was just past 2 a.m., and the rain still hammered the windows, a relentless reminder of the night's chaos. Evelyn's mind replayed the scene at the trailer, Tom Brennan's rage, Sarah's tears, the police sirens cutting through the storm. She'd gotten Lily out, but the victory felt hollow. Tom was in custody, but men like him didn't stay down for long. Not in a town like this, where loyalty ran deeper than justice. And Lily, though safe for now, was far from okay. The bruises on her body were only the surface. The real damage was in her eyes, in the way she flinched at sudden noises. Ms. Delgado, a wiry woman with sharp eyes, approached Evelyn, her clipboard tucked under her arm. "Dr. Harper," she said, her voice low, "Lily's given us enough. To start an investigation, she's confirmed the physical abuse, grabbing, shoving, some hitting. We're placing her in temporary foster care tonight, out of town, until we can sort out what's next." Evelyn nodded, relief mingling with dread. "What about Tom? Will he be released?" Delgado's lips pressed into a thin line. "He's being held on assault charges for now, based on what you and Sarah reported, but his lawyer's already here, making noise about bail. He's claiming Lily's a troubled kid, that she provoked him. Classic deflection." Evelyn's stomach twisted. "And Sarah? Where is she?" "She's giving her statement now," Delgado said. "She's shaken up, says she didn't know the extent of it. I believe her, but she's not in a great headspace. We'll need to assess whether she's fit to care for Lily going forward." Evelyn glanced at Lily, who was staring at the floor, her hands twisting the blanket. "Lily needs to feel safe," she said. "She's been through enough." Delgado nodded. "We're on it. But, Dr. Harper, I need to be straight with you. You've put yourself in the middle of this. Tom's got friends in this town, and they're not going to like you stirring things up. Watch your back." The warning settled like a stone in Evelyn's chest. She'd known the risks when she made that first hotline call, but hearing it from Delgado made it real. She thanked the social worker and stood, her legs unsteady. She needed to talk to Lily before they took her away, to make sure the girl knew she wasn't alone. Approaching Lily, Evelyn knelt to meet her eyes. "Hey," she said softly, "you did so well tonight, telling Ms. Delgado the truth. I'm proud of you." Lily's lip trembled. "What if he gets out? What if he comes after me?" Evelyn's heart ached. She wanted to promise that Tom would stay locked up, but she couldn't. "We're going to do everything we can to keep you safe," she said instead. "You're not alone anymore, Lily. I'm here, and so are a lot of other people who care about you." Lily nodded, but her eyes were distant, as if she didn't quite believe it. Ms. Delgado called her name, signaling it was time to go. Lily stood, clutching the blanket, and gave Evelyn a small, hesitant hug before following the social worker out. Evelyn watched her go, a lump in her throat. She'd saved Lily tonight, but the fight was far from over. Back at her house, Evelyn couldn't sleep. The adrenaline had worn off, leaving her wired and exhausted. She double-checked the locks, closed the blinds, and sat at her kitchen table, her phone in hand. Marcus Reed had texted her, "CPS is moving fast. Lily's in a safe house." "I'm digging into Tom's connections," sheriffs dept local business owners. "Call me tomorrow," Evelyn typed a quick reply, thanking him, then stared at the unknown number voicemail from earlier. She hadn't listened to it yet, too afraid of what it might be. Taking a deep breath, she played it. The voice was low, distorted, almost a growl. "You think you're clever, Doc? You're gonna regret this." Her blood ran cold. It had to be Tom, or someone acting for him. She saved the voicemail, her hands shaking, and forwarded it to Marcus. If Tom was already threatening her from jail, he had more pull than she'd realized. She needed to be smarter, more careful. The next morning, Hollow Creek was a powder keg. Evelyn drove to the clinic, her eyes scanning for Tom's truck or any unfamiliar cars. The town felt different now, its quaint facade cracked open to reveal something uglier. At the diner, she overheard snippets of conversation. Some blamed Lily for causing trouble. Others whispered about Tom's temper, but no one spoke too loudly. Fear hung in the air, as tangible as the fog. Clara, the receptionist, was waiting. At the clinic, her usual cheer replaced by unease. "Dr. Harper, you heard about Tom Brennan?" she asked, her voice low. "They're saying he attacked Lily and Sarah last night. Police took him in." Evelyn nodded, keeping her expression neutral. "I heard. It's awful." Clara leaned closer, glancing at the door. "People are talking, you know, saying you were there when it happened. Tom's buddy, Deputy Malone, was at the bar last night, mouthing off about you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong." Evelyn's pulse quickened. Deputy Malone, Tom's old partner from the sheriff's department. She'd seen him around town, a burly man with a permanent scowl. If he was already targeting her, things were escalating faster than she'd expected. "Thanks for the heads up," she said, forcing a smile. "Let's keep things normal here." "Okay," Clara nodded, but her eyes were wary. Evelyn headed to her office, locking the door behind her. She needed to focus, to figure out her next move. Marcus was digging, CPS was involved, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something. Tom's influence ran deep, and if he got out on bail, Lily and Evelyn would be in danger. She called Marcus, her voice low. "I got a threatening voicemail last night," she said. "Distorted voice, but I'm sure it's connected to Tom. And Clara just told me Deputy Malone's talking about me." Marcus cursed under his breath. "Malone's bad news. He and Tom go way back. Covered for each other when Tom was still a deputy. I'm betting Malone's the one keeping Tom in the loop. You need to stay out of sight, Evie. No more heroics." "I can't just hide," Evelyn said, frustration creeping into her voice. "Lily's counting on me. If Tom gets out, he'll go after her." "I know," Marcus said. "I'm working on it. My CPS contact says Lily's safe for now, but they need more evidence to make the case stick. Medical records, witness statements, something solid." "You documented those bruises, right?" "Yeah," Evelyn said. "They're in her file with dates and descriptions. I can send them to CPS, but I need to do it anonymously. If my name gets out, Tom's friends will come for me." "Fax them. From a public machine," Marcus suggested. "Library, post office, somewhere untraceable. And Evie, get a burner phone. Your number's probably compromised." She hung up, her mind racing. Marcus was right. She needed to be smarter. She grabbed Lily's file, photocopied the relevant pages, and slipped them into her bag. The library was a 10-minute drive. She could fax the documents there and be back before her first patient, but as she stepped into the hallway, Clara's voice stopped her. "Dr. Harper?" "Sarah Cott is here. She looks rough." Evelyn's heart sank. Sarah. She hadn't expected this, not so soon. "Send her in," she said, bracing herself. Sarah entered, her eyes red and swollen, her hands twisting a tissue. "Dr. Harper," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what Tom was doing to Lily." Evelyn gestured for her to sit, her guard up. "Sarah, I'm glad you're here. But I need to know, are you with Lily now, or are you still with Tom?" Sarah's face crumpled. "I kicked him out. When I saw him hit her last night, God, I should have seen it sooner. I was so stupid thinking he was just strict. I failed her." Evelyn softened, but only slightly. "You're here now. That's a start. But Lily's in a safe house, and CPS is involved. They're going to need your cooperation to keep her safe." Sarah nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'll do anything. I just want my daughter back." Evelyn studied her, searching for sincerity. Sarah seemed genuine, but Evelyn had seen parents cover for abusers before. "Tell CPS everything," she said. "Every fight, every time Tom lost his temper. Don't hold back. And Sarah? Stay away from Tom. If he thinks you're turning on him, he could hurt you too." Sarah's eyes widened, but she nodded. "I will." Thank you, Dr. Harper, for helping Lily. After Sarah left, Evelyn felt a flicker of hope. If Sarah was telling the truth, her testimony could be the key to keeping Tom behind bars. But hope was dangerous in Hollow Creek, and Evelyn couldn't afford to let her guard down. That afternoon, Evelyn drove to the library, her bag heavy with Lily's medical records. The library was quiet, its fax machine tucked in a corner by the reference desk. She fed the pages through, her hands steady despite the knot in her stomach. The documents were addressed to Ms. Delgado at CPS, with no return information. It wasn't perfect, but it was the best she could do. As she turned to leave, she froze. Deputy Malone stood by the entrance, his arms crossed, his eyes locked on her. He didn't move, but his presence was a threat, a warning. Evelyn forced herself to walk past him, her head high, but her heart pounded. He knew, maybe not everything, but enough to make her a target. Back at the clinic, she bought a burner phone from a gas station, following Marcus's advice. She texted him the new number, then called Ms. Delgado, using the burner. "I sent you some medical records," she said, keeping her voice low. "They're from a concerned citizen. You'll see the bruises documented with dates. It's enough to show a pattern." Delgado's voice was brisk but grateful. "Got it. This helps a lot. We're building the case, but Tom's lawyer is pushing hard. He's got a bail hearing. Tomorrow, if he gets out, we'll need to move fast to protect Lily." Evelyn's grip tightened on the phone. "What about Sarah? Is she cooperating?" "She's talking," Delgado said. "But she's scared. Tom's been calling her from jail, and she's not sure she can stand up to him." Evelyn cursed under her breath. "Keep her away from him. And Ms. Delgado, if Tom gets out, you need to make sure Lily's nowhere he can find her." "We're on it," Delgado said. "Stay safe, Dr. Harper." The call ended, and Evelyn sat in her office, the weight of it all pressing down on her. Tom's bail hearing was tomorrow. If he got out, he'd come for Lily, and maybe for her. She needed to be ready. The next morning, Evelyn woke to a text from Marcus. "Bail hearing at 10 a.m. I'm at the courthouse. Meet me there, but stay low." She drove to the courthouse, parking a block away to avoid attention. The building was small, its steps slick with rain. Marcus was waiting outside, his trench coat damp, his expression grim. "Tom's got a good lawyer," he said as she approached, "and Malone's been sniffing around asking about you. I don't like it." Evelyn's stomach churned. "What's the plan?" "We watch the hearing," Marcus said. "If Tom gets bail, we make sure CPS moves Lily immediately, and you need to disappear for a bit. Go to Portland, stay with a friend. Let me handle the fallout." "I'm not running," Evelyn said, her voice firm. "Not until I know Lily's safe." Marcus sighed, but he didn't argue. They slipped into the courthouse, sitting in the back row of the small courtroom. Tom sat at the defendant's table, his face calm, almost smug. His lawyer, a slick man in a tailored suit, was arguing that Tom was a pillar of the community, that the charges were exaggerated, that Lily was an unstable child with a history of lying. Evelyn's blood boiled, but she stayed silent, her eyes on the judge. Sarah was there, too, in the front row, her hands clasped tightly. She looked like she hadn't slept, but her jaw was set, as if she'd made up her mind. The judge, an older woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, listened to both sides, her expression unreadable. When she spoke, her voice was firm. "Given the severity of the charges and the evidence presented, I'm denying bail at this time. Mr. Brennan will remain in custody pending further investigation." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Tom's face darkened, and he leaned toward his lawyer, whispering furiously. Sarah's shoulders sagged, whether from relief or fear, Evelyn couldn't tell. Marcus squeezed Evelyn's arm. "Good call," he whispered, "but don't get comfortable. Tom's not done." As they left the courthouse, Evelyn's burner phone buzzed. It was Ms. Delgado. "Lily's safe house is secure. Sarah's with us, giving a full statement. We've got enough to charge Tom with child abuse, maybe more. Thank you." Evelyn exhaled, a flicker of hope breaking through the fear. They were winning. For now. But as she stepped into the rain, she saw Deputy Malone across the street watching her. His eyes were cold, promising trouble. That night, Evelyn sat in her living room, the burner phone on the table. Marcus had promised to keep digging to make sure Tom's connections didn't derail the case. Sarah was cooperating, Lily was safe, and Tom was behind bars. But Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't over. Hollow Creek was a small town, and small towns had long memories. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. She froze, her heart racing. It was late, too late for visitors. She grabbed the burner phone, ready to call Marcus, and crept to the window, peering through the blinds. It was Sarah, soaked and shivering, her face streaked with tears. "Dr. Harper!" she called, her voice breaking. "Please, I need to talk to you." Evelyn hesitated, then opened the door, keeping her guard up. "Sarah, what's wrong?" Sarah stepped inside, her hands trembling. "It's Tom," she said. "He called me from jail. He knows I'm talking to CPS. He said he's got people on the outside, and if I don't drop this, they'll make sure I lose Lily forever." Evelyn's blood ran cold. Tom's reach was longer than she'd feared. She guided Sarah to the couch, her mind racing. "You can't listen to him," she said. "He's trying to scare you. CPS is on your side, and so am I. We're going to keep Lily safe." Sarah nodded, but her eyes were wide with fear. "What if he's not bluffing? What if he sends someone?" Evelyn didn't have an answer. She'd faced threats before, but this was different. Tom wasn't just a bully. He was a predator with a network, and she'd made herself his target. But as she looked at Sarah, broken but fighting for her daughter, Evelyn knew she couldn't back down. "We'll figure it out," she said, her voice steady. "Together." Evelyn Harper's living room was dimly lit, the single lamp casting long shadows across the walls. Sarah Carter sat on the couch, her hands trembling as she clutched a mug of tea Evelyn had made to calm her nerves. The rain had stopped, leaving an eerie silence that made every creak of the house feel like a warning. Sarah's words echoed in Evelyn's mind. Tom's got people on the outside. The threat wasn't just Tom anymore. It was a network, a web, of loyalty that stretched through Hollow Creek's underbelly. "Sarah," Evelyn said, sitting across from her, "you need to tell CPS about this call. If Tom's threatening you from jail, it's evidence. It could keep him locked up longer." Sarah's eyes were wide, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if they can't protect us? He said his friends would make sure I lose Lily. What if they take her away for good?" Evelyn leaned forward, her voice firm but gentle. "They won't. CPS is on your side, and so am I, but you have to be strong for Lily. She needs you to fight for her, not just against Tom, but against anyone." "Who's helping him?" Sarah nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I know, I feel so stupid. All this time, I thought he was just stressed, that he loved us in his own way. How could I miss it?" Evelyn's heart ached. She'd seen this guilt before. Parents, blindsided by the truth, blaming themselves for what they couldn't see. "You're not stupid," she said. "Men like Tom are good at hiding who they are. But you're doing the right thing now. That's what matters." Sarah wiped her eyes, her jaw tightening. "I'll tell CPS, and I'll do whatever it takes to get Lily back." Evelyn managed a small smile, but her mind was racing. Sarah's resolve was a step forward, but Tom's threats meant danger was closing in. Deputy Malone's cold stare, at the library, the distorted voicemail, the whispers at the diner, it all pointed to a town turning against her. She needed to act fast, to protect Lily and Sarah, and to cover her own tracks. After Sarah left, promising to meet with Ms. Delgado. In the morning, Evelyn called Marcus Reed on her burner phone. He answered on the first ring, his voice tense. "Evie, you okay? I got your text about Sarah." "Yeah, for now," Evelyn said, pacing her kitchen. "Tom called her from jail, threatened her, said he's got people who'll make sure she loses Lily. Marcus, this is bigger than we thought. Deputy Malone's involved, maybe others." Marcus cursed. "I'm not surprised. Malone's been Tom's shadow for years. I've got a lead on him. Some shady deals he and Tom were part of when Tom was a deputy. Bribes, evidence tampering, nothing that stuck, but it's a start. I'm meeting a source tomorrow, an old informant who owes me. If I can tie Malone to Tom's threats, we might have leverage. Evelyn's grip tightened on the phone. What about Lily? Is she still safe? CPS has her in a secure foster home about an hour from Hollow Creek, Marcus said. They're not taking chances, but if Tom's got people watching, we need to be careful. No visits, no calls, nothing that could lead back to her. Evelyn nodded, though Marcus couldn't see her. I'm sending Sarah to CPS tomorrow. She's ready to talk. But Marcus, I'm worried about Malone. He saw me at the library, and Clara said he's been talking about me. If he knows I'm involved, lay low, Marcus interrupted. No more trips to the trailer park, no more faxes from public machines. Stick to the clinic, keep your head down. I'll handle Malone. Evelyn wanted to argue, to say she couldn't just sit back, but she knew he was right. She was too exposed, and one wrong move could jeopardize everything. Okay, she said, but keep me posted. And Marcus, be careful. Always am, he said, a hint of his old cockiness breaking through. Get some sleep, Evie. You're gonna need it. She hung up, but sleep was the last thing on her mind. She checked the locks again, her eyes lingering on the dark windows. Hollow Creek felt like a trap now, its streets hiding eyes that watched her every move. The next day, the clinic was quieter than usual, the waiting room half empty. Clara chalked it up to the weather. Another storm was rolling in. But Evelyn suspected the rumors were keeping patients away. Word had spread about her role in Tom's arrest, twisted into something ugly, the outsider doctor meddling in a local family's business. She overheard Clara on the phone, reassuring a patient that Evelyn was still a good doctor, and the words stung more than they should have. By noon, Evelyn's nerves were frayed. She hadn't heard from Marcus, and Sarah hadn't called to confirm her CPS meeting. She was about to check in with Ms. Delgado when Clara knocked on her office door. Dr. Harper, there's someone here to see you. No appointment, but he says it's urgent. Evelyn's stomach dropped. Who is it? Ron Haskell, Clara said. Owns the hardware store. Says he's got something important to tell you. Evelyn hesitated. Ron Haskell was a regular. At the diner, a gruff man in his 60s who'd never been a patient. She didn't trust unexpected visitors, not now, but dismissing him could raise suspicion. Send him in, she said, slipping her burner phone into her pocket. Ron entered, his work boots leaving muddy prints on the floor. He was heavy-set, with a gray beard and eyes that didn't quite meet hers. Dr. Harper, he said, his voice low, I heard you're mixed up with the Brennan mess. Thought you should know what you're stepping into. Evelyn's guard went up, but she kept her tone neutral. I'm just doing my job, Mr. Haskell. What do you want to tell me? He glanced at the door, then leaned closer. Tom's got friends, more than you think. Not just Malone. People who owe him favors. People who've known him since he was a kid. They're not happy about you poking around. I heard talk at the store. Some of them are planning to make things hard for you. Evelyn's pulse quickened. What kind? Of talk? Ron shifted, uncomfortable. Flat tires, broken windows, that sort of thing. Maybe worse. I'm not saying I'm part of it. I'm not. But you need to watch your back. Tom's not just a bully. He's got dirt on half this town, and they'll do what he says to keep it buried. Evelyn's mind raced. A coordinated effort against her petty vandalism or something more sinister. Why are you telling me this? She asked, studying his face. Ron's jaw tightened. I got a granddaughter Lily's age. What Tom did? It ain't right. I don't want to see you get hurt. For trying to help her. She nodded, sensing he was genuine, but she couldn't fully trust him. Thank you, Mr. Haskell. I'll be careful. He left without another word, and Evelyn locked the door behind him. Her hands shook as she dialed Marcus, leaving a voicemail. Ron Haskell just warned me about Tom's allies. They're planning something. Vandalism, maybe worse. Call me back. She sat at her desk, the weight of Ron's words settling in. Tom's reach was suffocating, a shadow over the town. She needed to protect herself, but more importantly, she needed to protect Lily. If Tom's friends were this bold, they might already know where Lily was. That evening, Evelyn's fears became reality. She was locking up the clinic when she noticed her car, 2 tires slashed, the driver's side window cracked. A note was tucked under the windshield wiper, scrawled in block letters, "Back off, or you're next." She stood frozen, the note trembling in her hand. The parking lot was empty, but she felt watched, the darkness pressing in. She took a photo of the note and the damage, then called Marcus, her voice steady despite the panic clawing. "At Hare. They hit my car," she said when he answered. "Slashed tires, a threatening note. This is Tom's doing." Marcus's voice was grim. "Get out of there, Evie. Go home, lock the doors. I'm coming to Hollow Creek tonight. My source gave me something, records of payments between Malone and Tom going back years. It's not enough to arrest Malone yet, but it's leverage. We can use it to scare him off." Evelyn drove home on her spare tire, her eyes scanning the rearview mirror. The note was in her bag, a tangible reminder of the danger she'd invited. She'd known the risks, but seeing her car vandalized made it real. Tom's allies weren't just talking, they were acting. At home, she bolted the doors and checked the windows, her burner phone close. Marcus arrived an hour later, his face lined with exhaustion. He spread a stack of documents on her kitchen table, bank records, emails, handwritten notes. "This is what my source got," he said. "Tom and Malone were skimming money from drug busts when Tom was a deputy. They funneled it through a shell company, but the paper trail's sloppy. If we get this to the right people, it could take them both down." Evelyn's eyes scanned the documents, her heart racing. "Who's the right people? We can't trust the sheriff's department." "I've got a contact in the state police," Marcus said. "She's clean, no ties to Hollow Creek. But we need to move carefully. If Malone gets wind of this, he'll come for us." Evelyn nodded, her resolve hardening. "What about Lily? If we go after Malone, will it put her at risk?" "CPS is keeping her location locked down," Marcus said. "But we need Sarah to stay strong. If she cracks under Tom's pressure, the case could fall apart." Evelyn's thoughts turned to Sarah. She'd promised to meet with CPS today, but Evelyn hadn't heard from her. "I'll check on her tomorrow," she said. "Make sure she's holding up." Marcus gave her a long look. "You're in deep, Evie. You sure you're ready for what's coming?" She met his gaze, her voice steady. "I'm not backing down. Not for Tom, not for Malone, not for anyone." The next morning, Evelyn drove to Sarah's new apartment, a small unit on the edge of town, paid for by CPS to keep her away from the trailer. The vandalism to Evelyn's car had been reported to the police, but she'd kept the note private, sharing it only with Marcus. She didn't trust the local cops, not with Malone lurking. Sarah answered the door, her face pale but determined. "Dr. Harper," she said, stepping aside. "I was about to call you. I met with CPS yesterday. I told them everything, every fight, every time Tom got rough with me or Lily. They're adding it to the case." Evelyn exhaled, relief washing over her. "That's good, Sarah, really good. But Tom's still making threats. Are you safe here?" Sarah's eyes darted to the window. "I think so. CPS gave me a panic button, and they're checking on me daily. But I'm scared, Dr. Harper. Not just for me, for Lily. If Tom's friends find her—" "They won't," Evelyn said, though she wasn't sure she believed it. "We're working on something to take down Tom's allies. You just need to keep talking to CPS, stay strong." Sarah nodded, her hands twisting together. "I'm trying. For Lily." Before Evelyn could reply, her burner phone buzzed. It was Ms. Delgado. "Need you to meet with Lily. She's asking for you. Safe house, 3 p.m., address to follow." Evelyn's heart lifted. Seeing Lily might give her the strength to keep going. She thanked Sarah and left, her mind on the meeting. But as she drove, she noticed a black SUV trailing her, keeping its distance but never turning off. Her pulse quickened. She took a detour, weaving through side streets, and the SUV followed. She called Marcus, her voice low. "I'm being followed. Black SUV, no plates I can see. I'm heading to the clinic." "Don't go there," Marcus said. "Too exposed. Drive to the state police substation, 10 miles out of town. I'll meet you there. And Evie, don't stop for anything." Evelyn gripped the wheel, her eyes flicking to the rearview mirror. The SUV was closer now, its tinted windows hiding the driver. She pressed the gas, the road blurring as she sped toward the substation. The SUV kept pace, its presence a silent threat. She reached the substation, pulling into the lot as Marcus's car rolled in. The SUV slowed, then turned away, disappearing into the fog. Evelyn's hands shook as she parked, her breath ragged. Marcus was at her side in seconds, his face grim. "You okay?" "Yeah," she said, though she wasn't. "That was no coincidence. They're watching me," Marcus nodded. "We need to move faster. I'm meeting my state police contact tonight. If we can get these documents to her, we might have a shot at taking down Malone and Tom's whole network." Evelyn's resolve hardened. "I'm meeting Lily at the safe house this afternoon. If she's ready to talk, her statement could seal the case against Tom." Marcus gave her a sharp look. "Be careful, Evie. If they're tailing you, they might know about the safe house." The thought chilled her, but she pushed it aside. "I have to see her. She needs me." At 3 p.m., Evelyn arrived at the safe house, a nondescript ranch-style home in a neighboring town. Ms. Delgado met her at the door, her expression guarded. "Lily's been asking for you," she said. "She's stronger than she looks, but she's scared. Go easy on her." Evelyn nodded, stepping inside. Lily was in the living room, curled up on a couch with a book. When she saw Evelyn, her face lit up and she ran to her, hugging her tightly. "Dr. Harper," she said, her voice muffled. "I thought you forgot about me." "Never," Evelyn said, kneeling to meet her eyes. "I'm here, Lily, and I'm not going anywhere." They sat together, and Lily opened up, her words halting but clear. She described Tom's abuse, the grabbing, the yelling, the times he'd locked her in her room. She hadn't told anyone before, too afraid of what he'd do. Evelyn listened, her heart breaking but her resolve strengthening. Lily's statement was gold. It could bury Tom. As they talked, Ms. Delgado took notes, her face grim. "This is enough to strengthen the charges," she said. "With Sarah's testimony and the medical records, we've got a solid case." Evelyn smiled at Lily, squeezing her hand. "You're so brave, sweetheart. You're helping make sure Tom can't hurt anyone else." Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "I just want to go home, with Mom." "We're working on that," Evelyn said, though she knew it wasn't simple. Sarah had to prove she could protect Lily, and Tom's allies were still a threat. As Evelyn left the safe house, the black SUV was parked across the street, its engine idling. Her blood ran cold. She memorized its make and model, then drove to the state police substation, her hands trembling. Marcus was right. They were closing in. That night, Evelyn met Marcus at a diner outside Hollow Creek, the documents spread between them. His state police contact, Captain Elena Torres, was on her way. Evelyn's nerves were shot, the SUV's presence a constant weight. "If they know about the safe house," she said, "Lily's not safe." "Torres can help," Marcus said. "She's got no love for corrupt cops like Malone. If we give her this, she'll move fast." Captain Torres arrived, a tall woman with a no-nonsense demeanor. She scanned the documents, her expression darkening. "This is serious," she said. "If these payments check out, we can open an investigation into Malone and Brennan. But I need more. Witnesses, recordings, something to tie it to current." "Threats!" Evelyn hesitated, then pulled out her phone, playing the distorted voicemail. "This came after Tom's arrest," she said, "and my car was vandalized with a note telling me to back off." Torres's eyes narrowed. "Save that voicemail, and the note. Where is it?" "In my bag," Evelyn said. "I didn't trust the local police with it." "Good instinct," Torres said. "Get me the note and I'll start building a case. But Dr. Harper, you're a target. You need to leave Hollow Creek until this blows over." Evelyn's jaw tightened. "I can't. Not until Lily's safe." Torres studied her, then nodded. "All right, but you're under my protection now. No more solo moves." As they left the diner, Evelyn's burner phone buzzed. It was Ms. Delgado. Lily's safe house was compromised. "We're moving her now. Stay away until we confirm it's secure. Evelyn's heart stopped. The SUV. They'd found her. She showed Marcus the text, her voice shaking. "We're out of time." Marcus grabbed her arm. "We'll find her, Evie, but we need to end this. Now." Evelyn Harper's hands trembled as she gripped the steering wheel, the text from Ms. Delgado burning in her mind. Lily's safe house was compromised. We're moving her now. The black SUV's image lingered. Tinted windows, no plates, a predator, stalking her through Hollow Creek's fog. She sat in Marcus Reed's car outside the diner, the weight of the night pressing down. Captain Elena Torres, the state police officer, had just left with Marcus's documents, promising to launch an investigation into Deputy Malone and Tom Brennan's network. But promises weren't enough, not when Lily was in danger. Marcus's voice cut through her thoughts. "Evie, we need to move. If they found the safe house, they're closer than we thought. Torres is good, but she needs time to build the case. We have to keep you and Lily out of reach until then." Evelyn's jaw tightened. "I'm not hiding, Marcus. Lily's scared and she needs me. I'm going to her." Marcus grabbed her arm, his eyes fierce. "You're not thinking straight. That SUV wasn't a coincidence. Malone's playing dirty, and if he's working for Tom, he knows you're the one who started this. You go to Lily now. You lead them right to her." Evelyn pulled away, her voice sharp. "And if I don't, what happens? She's already been moved once. What if they find her again? I'm the only one she trusts." Marcus sighed, running a hand through his hair. "All right, but we do this my way. I'm driving and we're taking my car. No burner phone, no traceable moves. Torres gave me a secure line to contact Delgado. We'll find out where Lily's being moved and get you there. But you follow my lead." Evelyn nodded, though every instinct screamed to act, to run to Lily. She handed over her burner phone and Marcus slipped it into a Faraday bag, cutting off any chance of tracking. They left her car at the diner, a calculated risk to throw off whoever was watching, and sped into the night, the road slick with rain. An hour later, they pulled into a gas station 30 miles from Hollow Creek, a desolate spot lit by flickering neon. Marcus used the secure line to call Ms. Delgado, his voice low as he confirmed Lily's new location, a CPS safe house in a small town called Pineview, tucked in the mountains. "They're locking it down," he told Evelyn, hanging up. "No. Visitors, no calls, but Delgado's making an exception for you. We're expected in 2 hours." Evelyn's relief was tempered by fear. "What about Malone? If he found the first safe house, he could find this one." "Torres is watching him," Marcus said. "She's got a team pulling his phone records, tracking his movements. If he's coordinating with Tom's allies, we'll know soon. But, Evie, when you see Lily, you need her to be ready to testify. Her statement, Sarah's, and those medical records, they're the nails in Tom's coffin." Evelyn nodded, her mind on Lily's haunted eyes. Testifying would be hard. Maybe the hardest thing the girl had ever done, but Evelyn believed in her strength. "She'll do it," she said. "She's braver than she knows." They drove in silence, the mountains looming in the darkness. Evelyn's thoughts churned. Tom's threats, Malone's stare, the vandalized car, the note, back off or you're next. She'd stirred a hornet's nest, and the consequences were closing in. But she thought of Lily, of the bruises, of the fear in her voice, and her resolve hardened. No one else had stood up for that girl. Evelyn would. The Pineview safe house was a nondescript cabin at the end of a gravel road surrounded by dense forest. Ms. Delgado met them at the door, her face drawn but professional. "Dr. Harper, thank you for coming," she said, glancing at Marcus. "Lily's inside. She's shaken up from the move, but she's been asking for you." Evelyn stepped into the cabin, her heart lifting at the sight of Lily on a couch, a blanket around her shoulders. The girl's face brightened, and she ran to Evelyn, hugging her tightly. "I was so scared," Lily whispered. "They said someone found me." "You're safe now," Evelyn said, kneeling to meet her eyes. "I'm here, and we're not going to let anything happen to you." Ms. Delgado cleared her throat. "Dr. Harper, we need to talk about the case. Lily's statement from the first safe house was strong, but the prosecutor wants her to testify in person. It's the best way to ensure Tom stays locked up. Evelyn's stomach twisted. She'd known this was coming, but seeing Lily's small frame, her trembling hands, made it real. "Lily," she said gently, "do you understand what testifying means? You'd have to tell the court what Tom did to you in front of a judge, maybe a jury. It's scary, but it could make sure he can't hurt you or anyone else again." Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. "I want him to stop. I don't want to be afraid anymore." Evelyn squeezed her hand, pride swelling in her chest. "You're so strong, Lily, and you won't be alone. Your mom's helping too, and I'll be there every step." Ms. Delgado handed Evelyn a folder. "These are the medical records you sent. They're critical evidence, showing a pattern of abuse. With Lily's testimony and Sarah's, we're pushing for multiple charges: child abuse, assault, and intimidation." "Tom's lawyer is fighting hard, but we've got a shot." Evelyn glanced at the folder, her anonymous fax now a cornerstone of the case. "What about Tom's threats? Sarah said he's got people on the outside." Delgado's face darkened. "We're aware. The state police are investigating, and we've increased security here. But Dr. Harper, you're at risk too. Whoever compromised the first safe house might be targeting you." Evelyn nodded, the weight of it settling in. She stayed with Lily for an hour, talking about school, books, anything to ease her fear. When it was time to leave, Lily clung to her, whispering, "Don't let him find me." "I won't," Evelyn promised, though the words felt fragile against the reality closing in. Back in Marcus's car, Evelyn's nerves were raw. The safe house felt secure, but the black SUV's shadow lingered. Marcus's phone buzzed as they hit the highway, and he answered, his face tightening. "Torres," he said, putting it on speaker. "Reed, Harper," Captain Torres's voice crackled. "We've got movement. Malone's phone records show calls to a burner linked to Tom's jail calls. We tracked the burner to a motel in Hollow Creek. My team's moving in, but Malone's gone dark. He knows we're on to him." Evelyn's heart raced. "What about Lily? Is the safe house secure?" "We've got a unit stationed there," Torres said. "But Harper, you need to stay away from Hollow Creek. Malone's desperate and desperate. Men do stupid things." Marcus ended the call, his jaw set. "We're not going back to your place, Evie. Too risky. I've got a safe spot in Portland, a friend's apartment. We'll hole up there until Torres nails Malone." Evelyn wanted to argue, to stay close to Lily, but Malone's shadow was too real. "Okay," she said, "but we keep tabs on Lily and Sarah." They drove to Portland, the city lights a stark contrast to Hollow Creek's gloom. Marcus's friend was out of town, and the apartment was sparse but secure, with a view of the street. Evelyn couldn't relax, her mind on Lily, on Malone, on the case. She checked her burner phone, nothing from Delgado. Marcus set up a laptop, pulling up encrypted files on Malone's dealings. "Torres is good," he said, scrolling through emails. "If she ties Malone to Tom's threats, it's over for both of them. But we need to be ready for pushback. Tom's got more allies than we know." Evelyn nodded, the vandalized car flashing in her mind. "What if they come for Sarah? She's vulnerable, Marcus. Tom's been leaning on her." "I'll call Delgado. Make sure Sarah's under watch," he said. "You focus on staying alive." The next morning, Torres called with news. Malone had been spotted at the motel, but he'd slipped the net. The burner phone was found, smashed, in a dumpster. Worse, Sarah had received another call from Tom, this time through a third party, warning her to recant her statement or regret it. Sarah was shaken but holding firm, now under CPS protection in a new location. Evelyn's fear for Lily grew. "We need to end this," she told Marcus. "If Malone's still out there—" "He's a threat to everyone," Marcus nodded. "Torres is closing in. She's got a warrant for Malone's arrest, corruption, tampering, and now suspicion of witness intimidation. But he's gone to ground, probably hiding with one of Tom's buddies." Evelyn's mind raced. "What if we draw him out? Use me as bait? He's after me, right? Let him think he's got a shot." Marcus's eyes widened. "Are you crazy? That's a suicide mission." "Not if Torres is ready," Evelyn said. "We set a trap, somewhere controlled. I show up, Malone takes the bait, and Torres grabs him. It's risky, but it could protect Lily and Sarah. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. I'll pitch it to Torres, but Evie, if this goes wrong, you're done. I know, she said, her voice steady. But I'm not letting Malone win. Torres agreed to the plan, though she wasn't happy. The trap was set for the next evening at an abandoned warehouse on the edge of Hollow Creek, a place Marcus knew from his PI days. Torres's team would be hidden, ready to move. Evelyn would drive alone, her car wired with a tracker and a panic button. Marcus would be nearby, coordinating with Torres. The day passed in a blur of preparation. Evelyn called Ms. Delgado, confirming Lily was safe and preparing for her testimony. Sarah was with CPS, her resolve strengthened by their support. Evelyn felt a flicker of hope, but the warehouse loomed, a test she couldn't avoid. At dusk, she drove to the warehouse, her heart pounding. The lot was empty, the building's windows dark. She parked, the tracker blinking under her dashboard. Torres's voice crackled through an earpiece. We're in position. If Malone shows, we'll take him. Stay calm, Harper. Evelyn stepped out, the air cold and damp. She walked toward the warehouse, her footsteps echoing. A shadow moved in. The darkness, and her breath caught. Malone emerged, his face twisted with rage, a gun in his hand. You just couldn't leave it alone, could you? He snarled. Tom's locked up because of you. You think you're a hero, but you're just a dead woman walking. Evelyn's fear spiked, but she held her ground. It's over, Malone. The state police know everything. Your deals, the bribes, the threats. Put the gun down, he laughed, stepping closer. You think they'll touch me? I've got friends in places you can't imagine. Tom's got plans, and you're not part of them. Before she could respond, headlights flared, and Torres's voice boomed. Drop the weapon, Malone! You're surrounded! Malone froze, his eyes darting. Evelyn dove behind a crate as he fired wildly, the shots echoing. Torres's team moved. In, their shouts drowning out the chaos. A moment later, Malone was on the ground, cuffed, his gun kicked away. Evelyn stood, her legs shaking. Marcus ran to her, his face pale. You okay? Yeah, she said, her voice hoarse. It's done, Torres approached, her expression grim but satisfied. Malone's going down for this, and his arrest ties him to Tom's network. We've got enough to dismantle it. You did good, Harper. Evelyn nodded, but her thoughts were on Lily. What about the case? Lily's testimony is scheduled for next week, Torres said. With Malone in custody and Sarah's statement, Tom's looking at serious time. You've given us what we need. A week later, Evelyn sat in the courtroom, her heart full as Lily took the stand. The girl's voice was small but steady, recounting Tom's abuse with a courage that silenced the room. Sarah sat beside Evelyn, tears streaming down her face, her hand gripping Evelyn's. Tom's lawyer tried to shake Lily, but her truth held firm, backed by the medical records and Sarah's testimony. The judge's verdict came swiftly. Guilty, on multiple counts of child abuse, assault, and intimidation. Tom was sentenced to 15 years with no chance of parole for 10. Malone faced separate charges, his corruption exposed, his allies scattering. Hollow Creek's dark web was unraveling, its secrets dragged into the light. After the trial, Evelyn met Lily and Sarah outside the courthouse. Lily hugged her, her smile brighter than Evelyn had ever seen. Thank you, she whispered. You saved me. Evelyn's eyes burned. You saved yourself, sweetheart. You were so brave. Sarah stepped forward, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know how to thank you, Dr. Harper. You gave us a second chance. Evelyn smiled, though the weight of the past weeks lingered. Just take care of each other. That's enough. Months later, Hollow Creek was quieter, its wounds healing slowly. Evelyn stayed at the clinic, despite the whispers that never fully faded. She'd faced the town's darkness and come out stronger, her purpose clear. Lily and Sarah moved too. Portland, starting fresh, their bond rebuilt on trust and love. Evelyn visited when she could, each smile from Lily a reminder of why she'd fought. One evening, as she locked up the clinic, a letter arrived, slipped under the door. It was from Ron Haskell, the hardware store owner. You did right by that. Girl, town's changing, thanks to you. Keep going. Evelyn tucked the letter in her pocket, stepping into the cool night. The stars were out, piercing the fog. She'd paid a price, her safety, her peace, but she'd gained something greater, the knowledge that one voice, one choice, could break the silence. For Lily, for Sarah, for herself, it was worth it.